The 21st century has seen its fair share of deadly outbreaks: influenza, Ebola, Zika, but none has left its mark quite like the coronaviruses. First SARS, then MERS, and now COVID-19. First appearing in late 2019, the novel coronavirus has caused over 2 million cases with over 200,000 deaths worldwide, proving to be far more deadly than SARS or MERS. As businesses and schools close, many are social distancing by staying home and only going out when necessary. Confined to their homes, some are teleworking or receiving education through online means. To better understand the thoughts of those at home, I sat down with Tieler King, a mother, veteran, and Maryland resident who is taking this crisis day by day like many across the world. So how long have you been practicing social distancing?
Well, March 13th to be exact, when they had us come home to work. But I think I've always had that personality that I didn't want people, you're staying too close to me. You know, if we're in line, I'll step forward to have a little gap between. So it's just a bigger gap that I'm insisting between people and I, but otherwise it's fine.
What are some of the side effects of social distancing that you didn't expect?
I've never been one to put my hands in my face. I've always consistently washed my hands. You know, I think I'm a little bit of germaphobe. That was things I just did subconsciously. So now that you have to be more consciously aware of what you're doing, so I find, oh, can't do that, or did I wash my hands, even though it was 5 minutes ago. So now I keep lotion everywhere because my hands are getting so dry from just the nervousness of, did I walk across someone with COVID-19?
As mentioned earlier, you're a mother. You have a son who's currently not in school because of this crisis. How is everything going right now?
You know, I admire teachers. I know I don't have the patience to be a teacher. I've known that since my first child was born. I couldn't teach any of my kids how to drive. They choose not to learn from me for a reason, I'm sure. So thankfully, the way the schedule is set up, it's only one subject a day, 45 minutes in a Zoom meeting, and the rest is assignments to be done. And he is of age where I'm not having to do a lot of hand holding. It's mostly get online, pay attention, did you do your homework? That's it. So it's a little difficult, but it's all right.
Is the school providing an effective curriculum?
I will say some of the teachers are more tech savvy and they've already been using Google Classroom. And then he has one or two teachers that it is clearly a challenge and they haven't been as proactive with getting the information out to them or him. And I've had to ping them a couple of times with stuff. In the beginning, before they really set up what this study was going to be, it seemed like they was giving them busy work. But it's gotten better.
What do you make of the people who have younger children who are going through this?
Yeah, I feel sorry, man. Because, you know, those small kids also want to be up under you and try to balance working from home and homeschool. I can't imagine. And then there's the parents that, you know, don't have their own laptops or access to internet. I could imagine it's even more challenging for them.
What are your primary concerns during this pandemic?
Oh, that, you know, family stays healthy. You know, ones that live with me and ones that don't. Very concerned because I do go out and I do grocery shopping for the family, that I'm not bringing back an exposure to COVID-19. And just make sure that all my personal paperwork is in place so that if I do get sick and, you know, succumb to it, that my family will be able to find my paperwork and, you know, survive after the fact with insurance and what else comes into play.
How far have you thought about the possibilities? Have you considered what would happen if you were to get sick or require hospitalization?
All the possibilities, yeah. And even at work, we think of who are single point failures. If they're gone, then we've lost a huge knowledge point. And I am one of those that have been designated a single point of failure. So I am working with someone and kind of training them in what I do so that if something happens to me, they can pick it up and carry on as best their abilities. And then here again, making sure I have all my paperwork in place. What I said I was going to do, I haven't done yet, was just write little notes to the kids and the family so they know how I want the end of my life to be, quality of life, and just words of wisdom and thank yous and all that kind of stuff. And make sure you take care of your younger brother, that kind of thing, But so yeah, you do think that way.
Yeah. Do you have a plan for the worst case scenario? Do you think that's a possibility that everyone should be planning for right now?
I joined this Facebook meeting with some other friends of the same age bracket, and some people are doctors, some are lawyers, and they've given some advice on things we should be doing now to prepare for the worst case scenario, which is living will, health advocate who can speak on your behalf if you're unable to speak. Even being aware to keep your phone with you so that if you are positive and you're in the hospital, you could use your phone to communicate with your doctors so that they're not having to come in and be even more exposed and communicate with your family. And just make sure everyone's aware of, what your wishes are. I don't want anyone to feel that they're making a decision that they're not sure if I would want to go in that direction. So I'm trying to make it clear before I go, at least written down so they have it, so they don't have that worry or guilt that they make the right choice.
What do you make of the government's handling of these things, both federal and state?
State's doing an excellent job. He
Here in Maryland.
In Maryland, yes. He had us stay at home as a suggestion, then an order. My company did really good, in which we had a meeting and everyone expressed how uncomfortable they were coming into work via public transportation, commuter bus or metro. And the next day we were allowed to work from home. As a company as a whole, 98% of us are now home based, with one more percentage, 99, sometime next week I believe it would be. I'm trying to be very self-aware that this is probably going to be for a very long time. I wish our federal administration was as aware of that and was more proactive in the beginning. Maybe it would save some lives. We won't be like reacting versus being proactive to the situation that, from my understanding, was starting in December, January timeframe. And it doesn't seem like they started acting until March, late March, mid-March,
In mid-March, the confirmed number of Maryland cases was 31. That was a little over a month ago, with the peak happening around April 1st. Currently, the cases are numbered at 14.8 thousand. What do you make of the difference in this span of time?
Well, we don't know. It's a 2-week incubation period, so you don't know when you were exposed. And every time someone has tested positive, that 2 weeks start again. And so if we had 31 reaches 100, that becomes 3,100, and then you reach another 100, and that's 31. So it makes sense. I wish it wasn't so, but because it's not something you can see on someone, or even know that they sneeze and they hit something that you're going to touch, it's not surprising to see that it's growing like that. I'm not even sure if we hit our spike yet. And then because if you live in an apartment housing or in a tight neighborhood, it's just so many touch points. So just touching a door, ATM machine. The other day I was going someplace and I didn't hold the door for the person behind me because I don't know if they have it. I won't be that close to them, and they don't know if I have it, and they might not want to be close to me. And it's so awkward. So it's not surprising to see that number has shot up like that. Not at all.
Lately, there has been protests to the stay-at-home measures. What do you make of this?
America, freedom of speech. What I say to that, if they want to go back to work, go ahead, you first, and let me know how it works out, and then I'll decide if I'm ready to decrease my social distance.
How long do you see this pandemic lasting?
I initially thought May, but I'm thinking now June. We'll be in the clear by then. The hope is that there isn't an uptick once we come back in together. If so, then it probably will hit again September, October timeframe.
So you see continuous spikes happening in the future?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think everyone is admitting if they've been exposed or if they're exhibiting symptoms because they have to go to work. Because if you don't work, you don't get paid. Some jobs are like that. And I get it. You got to feed your family. $1,200 is not going to cut it. So only pray that, it doesn't affect my family. The stay-at-home measure will probably fade away, and when the spike hits, it'll come back. So I think 2020 is going to be a very interesting year as a whole. And you can't say if it's stopped or not hitting in a particular state. As much as we travel, you just never know. If the government or the federal agencies or state agencies are no longer going to do social distancing, I will probably still personally have a social distance. So.
Are you concerned with what that might mean for you socially or with your career?
Well, socially, I don't think it's going to change too much because I'm keeping my distance, even though I'm still being social with people, family members that don't live inside the home. Work-wise, what I think is interesting, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm able to work from home. Our job enables us to still interact with customers verbally, over the phone, web meetings, and not be in a building that's owned by the company or rented by the company. So I suspect for most corporations, they will review this time and really consider, do they need to have that rental real estate or own a particular building if they're still effective with their employees working from home. So it wouldn't surprise me if I see commercially industry that it might change the way of doing business, that it'll be more working from home versus in a building every day, because you could also, you could rent a place if you want to have a meeting once a week and come in versus paying rent for water, electric bill, whatever it is for that month when it goes down. So let's just meet every 2 weeks in a building and we pay for that. Those hours need to be there. So I think corporations are going to look at this and reconsider their work from home policies.
Outside of the business world, how do you see things changing once all of this is over?
How the world will change is people will look at how they spend their money and their time, because you have no choice but to have family time because you're home. And since you're unable to go to the stores, all those things that you thought you needed and want, you have to look at that again. Like you survived 30 days without doing that. So how do you go back to doing the same thing? And the online ordering has gone like this, but still, it changes your thought. You can't help but to be changed.
People are wearing masks more in Maryland. In fact, it's now enacted into the stay-at-home measures that you must wear a mask when you visit an essential business. Do you think that this will become more commonplace even once the pandemic has passed?
I wouldn't be surprised. Before they issued a work from home order, my job, federal, state, before it was acknowledged by the current administration that this was a serious issue, I remember walking downtown, just hearing little stories about it in the news, and seeing individuals just wearing a mask on a regular basis. And some people do it for pollen, whatever, but it was a couple of people just wearing a mask. And you see in other nations that they do it on a regular. So I wouldn't be surprised. I personally would want to do it myself. It's kind of nice where people have to get to know a person inside versus their physical appearance, because all you see is their eyes. So you have to be more expressive. Hello versus that.
Do you have any final thoughts or comments for the viewers?
No, well, just like I said before, I think it changes your whole outlook on life, how you conduct yourself as a human being, and work-wise. Do we really need to go out and buy 3 tubs of toilet paper and not share with our fellow man? Do we really need to go and get all the hand sanitizer off the shelves, And there's people that don't have, elderly, at home that just didn't get out in time. I think we really have to, and I hope that we do, revisit how we conduct ourselves as human beings to our fellow man.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you staying in and being here with us today.
You're welcome.
Many are unsure about what may come next. With so many unanswered questions, it is all we can do to continue social distancing, washing our hands, and pay close attention to trusted sources such as the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization.